We are into game number 1 of the final set for Lewis and Twigg in TTL4 Silver. Lewis is playing as Lithuanians on the left side in blue, and Twigg as the Romans on the right in red. Lewis was not in TTL4, or sorry, in TTL3. When TTL3 was around in, what was that, 2023? 2 years ago now? He was like 1800. So for him to be 2K4 now is such an improvement. Meanwhile, Twigg was also 2K4 and was in the previous version of, or he's still 2K4 I should say, and he was in the previous version of TTL and TTL3. I believe still in Silver League, but I might be incorrect there. He might have been in Gold and got demoted. I can't remember exactly. Both players are just going to be pushing deer at the start, getting as much deer towards their economy as possible. Lewis going very forward for this lumber camp. This lumber camp looks much closer, but of course he's going for a lumber camp that'll be as protected as possible all the way in the back there. Twigg, yeah, just pushing deer, finding also a lumber camp. You know, they're finding lumber camps that I feel like are further, but Graveyards does have a very open map generation, so they don't have too many options. Twigg and Lewis used to be on the same team together. They were both on Dark Side. Lewis is now on Wonders. I don't know too much about what there is to each of these teams. They're not massive teams by any means. They might just be, you know, a community of players and not necessarily a sponsored team. Might not have any financial support or backing. Looking at the maps, players are starting fairly close to each other. It'll be interesting to see who finds who first, because I imagine, you know, Lewis will be scouting over this section of the map, more directly opposite, and Twigg the same, scouting over here. And of course, so many relics on this map. Let's zoom out and capture age and try to click all the relics. We have 11 relics. So I was joking earlier that maybe they were spending so much time in the lobby because they were trying to figure out what the settings were, making sure they were correct, just in case it was supposed to be played on Standard instead of Conquest, that the person who collected all the relics would be given the option for a relic victory, which we've seen the relic victory option come up multiple times on Migration if someone lands quickly and collects all the relics, like say with the Armenian monk. What are they called? Warrior priest, sorry. And Twigg now looking around his base, maybe looking for the potential for a wall. If he walled maybe to this wood line to the edge of the map, and then from this house back to these two wood lines, there's an option there for a wall off. It's not great. It's still a fairly open map. We've seen in previous versions of Graveyards where he could... What was the version of Graveyards where he could not wall to the edge of the map? Was that a thing? I'm thinking of the matchup where... was it Vivi was Burgundians and was actually able to full wall, and he had stone and gold in the back of his base, so he was able to full wall into Custidier. That was kind of a wild take on the map. I'm guessing both players are going to go 18 no loom if they can afford it. Lithuanians obviously are going to have an easier time at that because they're starting with the extra 100 food. It looks like both of them are going to go for loom as well. Did Lewis scout all of his back with his sheep? He scouted a decent portion of the back of his map. Yeah, his scouting's great. And he's actually kind of going in the right direction. Twigg, meanwhile, going for some early walls and a second lumber camp, it looks like. So maybe it'll be a bit more of a defensive approach to begin with. Where's his scout? Yeah, his scout's going where I expected his scout to go. Opposite side of the map. There's no clear indication of where their opponent is. There's plenty of golds and stones scattered around. Yeah, Lewis also just missing that there's a house right here, and that's where his opponent is. So they're going to be spending a while trying to find each other. Twigg's going to be second guessing. He's going to be like, wait, did I go far enough over to the right? Is he actually over to the left? They're going to be very surprised. I think whoever finds the other person first has a decent head start. Is this house going to start to be built? Oh, he's just missing the house and the mill. He might find the lumber camp first and think that Lewis is up in the corner. Yeah, he sees the chopped tree. He sees the lumber camp. Which way is he going to go? He's going to go in circles, it looks like. Okay, he's just gonna hang out there, I guess. He at least knows which direction to put his barracks on. He is walling on the correct side. to begin with. He didn't start walling on this side. And Lewis is, yeah, still going in circles, trying to find his opponent. Knows he's somewhere around there. I just need to find him, and hopefully it doesn't run into the town center. Might see that there's just one deer here, and think, okay, my opponent must be close by, and he does see the stable, which is really all he needs to scout at the moment. Lewis also a little bit late with getting his barracks. Scout's trying to block the foundation for the stable. But, you know, easy enough for Lewis to find a decent spot anyways. Deletes those walls, does not care about short walls. He's like, once I have scouts out, I'm good. I just needed to worry about that early pressure. And probably also, just in case there was militia or man-at-arms coming from the Romans. Since they can benefit from those attack upgrades, or so defense upgrades, by an extra level. I don't know how to say that. I don't know what it says in game either. Double effect of those defense upgrades. You could see some benefit in playing with Romans. Scout just trying to be a little nippy. I think that's still appropriate to say, nippy. And Twigg not up playing as defensive as I thought he was going to. Identifying where the scouts are, very good tactics. Following your opponent's scouts, making sure you're aware. But don't be too close, of course. You don't want to take any extra hits while you're looking at getting horse collar and stuff. Both players getting all of their feudal age standard eco upgrades, horse collar and double bit axe. They have a feeling that they're not going to be able to get any massive advantage, I guess, at this point. Twigg has, yeah, a spear at home just on the forge bushes, and as long as he's tracking where Lewis's scouts are, he's confident that there's not going to be any counterattack. Lewis trying to get a few shots on the scouts, and he does actually get some good shots. He must have been aiming at the front scout, so by the time the arrows without ballistics hit the scouts, they're hitting the one behind. Twigg is making a few more scouts. He must have just been a little bit low on food. Villagers spending more time collecting wood and walling. So yeah, just a little bit short on food. Didn't affect his idle TC time, which is really what's important at this stage. And yeah, Lewis getting some good walls off himself. This wall to this forest, I guess, is a little awkward, but can be helpful to make sure that if in case there's any range units coming out, they didn't range the berries. But yeah, awkward map with the wood lines so far away. Lewis has done a decent job of it. This wall somehow feels more normal, but I think it's this hill that's deceiving. And so, Twigg just staying on 4 scouts, it looks like. Might get caught out here a little bit. Does manage to path by before the spear gets any pokes, but definitely behind in terms of HP. Now the question is, who will be able to get up to Castle Age first? 16 on food, 15 on food versus 11. And Twigg already going out to gold. I expect both these players aren't going to forget the barracks as a second building. But you never know. 2 spears coming forward. Lewis, ooh, getting a poke. I feel like if Twigg saw some more military coming forward, he wouldn't be as comfortable with making this gate. It can be a weak point, though. In a recent patch, they got buffed a little bit, didn't they? I believe they got more armor. Lewis quickly caught up with how many he needed on food. Isn't going out to gold yet, or just going out right now. He needed to add some extra farms to make up for the additional resources to make. And Twigg actually deciding to add more scouts now. Interesting. I had a game earlier today where I got surprised by my Lithuanian, was it? I think it was Lithuanian opponent, how many scouts he was making. Lewis trying to get 3 hits off with the spear by microing back in between hits. But ineffective, unfortunately. The scouts were pathing correctly, and they were getting their hits in. There's the blacksmith for Twigg, and he looks like he's going to be up first. The Roman economy, it looks like it's paying off so far. I don't know, it's going to be close. I think Lewis might have just gone out to gold a little bit late. Might not have the gold in time. We'll see if his second building's a market to make up for that. Hasn't dropped the second building yet. So I'm expecting both players to go into light calves and monks. Sorry, got the plural wrong there. Ooh, Twigg deciding, you know what? I can get some hits on this spearman. we'll test how Lewis is feeling. I don't know if Lewis had a full day of work or something. They're both playing around 5-6 p.m. Local time. I think Argentina has similar time zones to UK. A lot of weak scouts here for Twigg. So Lewis actually has the advantage, despite having one fewer scouts. And Spears are just following each other, and yeah, very similar castle edge time. So I was incorrect thinking that Lewis is going to be slower. He just added more to gold, and he made up for it pretty quickly. But yeah, scout HP is important, and I guess numbers is more important. Twigg deciding to add more scouts as well. He wants to make sure he can snipe monks as the Lithuanian player tries to collect relics and get that bonus attack for his knights and potentially Lightus in the future. Hi from Argentina. Don't want to know who I don't know who I want to win, but now that Lewis is in Wonders. I'd be interesting to know more about Wonders. I don't know much about that team. But welcome. Ooh, this is interesting. Does Twigg see that? No, Twigg cannot see the range. Lewis thinking about cavalry archers. Lewis, meanwhile, second town center, monastery, getting like cav. He's playing it as it's expected to be played. And Lewis is hoping that he can surprise with some cavalry archers. He's going to show the monastery as if he's going to play this normal. Res collected, very similar for both players, but you can see the Roman bonus there. 200 extra res collected. And I don't know if that includes the 100 that Lithuanians get at the beginning of the game. And yeah, cavalry archers are just being held in the ranges for now, being hidden. Lewis is still going to get scout cavalry, or sorry, light cavalry upgrade. But right now, he's limited in his resources. Has to afford quite a bit at the same time, and that's why he's not going onto multiple town centers yet. He's going to have to do some damage, though. Twigg's already on 3 TCs. Isn't really going to be investing in more military outside of this. Oh, he is going to be adding some knights, it looks like. The eco from him has just been very smooth. And has he seen the cavalry archers yet? He backed off. Okay, yeah, he sees them now. He understands what Lewis is trying to do. Lewis is happy to micro all day, and now Lewis is adding the next town center. So realizing he might not be able to do a ton of damage, I think he saw 2 of the town centers. And he can probably expect a third. Is there a hole here? Oh, that looks so much like a hole. Village is being pulled off the wood line, so they're out of range of the cavalry archers. Town center is quite nicely positioned there. Go, 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 Twigg. What's up, Beery? A lot of Argentina fans, it looks like. And the Romans already have their Scorpion to help deal with the cav archers. Scorpion doesn't want to be taken out by the light cav. Is being brought towards the town center. Those light cav are doing some decent damage, but yeah, 2 villagers looks like it's enough. And Twigg's doing a great job of defending here. Doing everything right. And as I said earlier, these players have traded off equally in the last several games that they've played on Arabia. Light cav are being chased away. Cavalry archers look like they're going to be cleaned up by the 2 light cav and a knight. More cavalry archers being added, but yeah, you don't want to lose your mass like that. Relics collected is 0 for both players. We have a monk over here trying to wrap back around to this relic, it looks like. That's interesting that Twigg thinks he can actually take away enough relics from the Lithuanian player to prevent him from getting 4 relics. And I'm guessing that the play from Lewis is just going to be try to hold map control with cav archers at present, and then switch to cavalry later. Maybe cavalry skirm or just full cavalry. We'll see. He's leaving himself open to options. He doesn't want to be stuck in just cavalry against Romans who have, you know, solid eco. The more villagers they have, the better their eco is. Or like, I don't know how to say that. the even better it gets. Thanks for all the follows, guys. Appreciate it. I don't have any notifications on. Twigg's trying to come in to deny this town center. Cav archers are being moved out of place. Monk is there to try to convert a knight as well. But town center is up. I think that's just going to be a dead monk and a few dead cavalry. Maybe this... okay, this villager is lucky that Twigg doesn't want to stick around. But we do have 2 scorpions here. It looks like it's just going to be micro. Oh, there's a knight here too. A few knights being brought in by Lewis. I don't think he got a conversion, did he? I don't see conversions on this screen. I'll have to go to the statistics later. So CLS conversions. But it looks like all the scout cavalry have been cleaned up, so the monk plus cav archers can do a lot of damage here. Twigg is going to have to start thinking about other options. Obviously, Roman scorpions are very cheap, being 60% discounted on gold. So he can just keep pumping them out. Maybe even a second siege workshop would make sense. The scorpion is just so out of position. I don't know. I don't think Lewis saw that. But yeah, equal on town centers now. Twigg wasn't able to get that much of a lead. I think it's just been a shortage of food or just a shortage of consistently producing villagers. Adding a market now to help rebalance. I mean, his eco is pretty well balanced anyways. And getting a university as well to get ballistics for those scorpions. Making sure that there's no hole here so the cavalry archers can't just run in like they did earlier. I mean, previously it wasn't actually that beneficial. And very early handcart as well for Lewis. Was that housed? No, he wasn't housed, I don't think. Scout just watching this relic. Total relics is 2 for Lewis, 0 for Twigg. Man, look at Lewis just watching all these relics. You can see how much he's improved over the past few years. As I mentioned earlier, in TTL4, the previous version, he was an 1800. Like, he wouldn't have even qualified for the tournaments. But maybe he's going a little bit deep here. He has tried to even out the score lead. The big shot there by those scorpions. Knight trying to go in. Our villagers going to be sent to help repair the scorpions. They're just being sent towards the town center this time. But those are some solid shots against the scorpions. It seems like every time Lewis goes in, it doesn't work out for him. These villagers could also help re-wall behind. But it doesn't look like it's going to be necessary. Enough knights there to take them out. 4th town center planned for Twigg. Once he saw those cav archers go into the base, he knew that it would be safe for his villagers to come out and build a town center. And Lewis still building cav archers. I mean, the good thing for Lewis, though, is, of course, that he's able to collect these relics. There's only spears out on the map for Twigg here to help defend the relics. And, of course, he has the mobility, scorpions. They might be cheap. They might pack a punch, but they are still slow. Monk coming over to try to convert one of the knights, which could, in turn, kill one of the scorpions. Scorpion doesn't have ballistics yet. University went up, but obviously resources are limited. Knight just gets sniped. And we have knights coming around. Did they snipe the villager? No. Monk trying to get a conversion himself. And some spears checking if this was open. If the knights could run in like they've been running in for Lewis. I guess the units have been running in for Lewis. Gets 2 conversions. Very nicely done there by Lewis. And knights have found a way into this town center. The villager making a nice little enclave here. Unfortunately, those are not Khmer houses, so the villagers can't hide in them. They'll have to run away afterwards. Lewis already collected a lot of stone. I don't know if he's been selling it or what. Oh, we got all the Argentinians in the chat saying, let's go Twigg. Oh, there's the castle. There's where the stone was spent on. So I guess Lewis recognizing that hill might be an issue if Twigg gets a position on there. Twigg's still ahead in eco count. Up quite a few villagers. And this is where he decides to build his castle. Not in range of the town center, but is on a hill, which might be even better. It's tricky, though. Military count's very similar. Lewis has a slight edge. And Lewis, where is he deciding to go out? Okay, just wants a better wood line. Realizes this wood line's been a little bit difficult to handle. Lewis also adding in lightest to his mix. Was very heavily on gold, though. You can see his eco balance hasn't been the best. And, of course, Lewis sees that with the outpost right next to the castle. And now the castle is in range of the town center. So that gold will be cut off. Of course, Lewis has multiple more. He has gold here. He has gold in the back that he could use. So a lot of options. Will Lewis get the conversions? He's trying. And obviously, Twigg doesn't want to give him any conversions because a knight that gets converted is a scorpion that goes down. That's just how that works. Lewis kind of forcing the fight there. Or trying to force Twigg into a bad fight, since Twigg has to fight while the castle's going up. Can't just leave his villagers exposed. But these scorpions, they do work, man. They absolutely do work. Score is so close. It's so neck and neck. Villagers trying to wall up behind, make sure that this doesn't result in any additional pressure. Twigg almost looks like he just wants to go full aggression in Castle Age. I wouldn't be surprised if... Oh yeah, there's the second castle. I was going to say either another castle or another siege workshop. He's not happy with that position. He wants it even more forward. He's like, if Lewis can collect gold after this, I've done a bad job. Knights are just being sent straight to the front. Still has the eco lead, though it has lagged off a little bit as he's constantly trying to produce knights instead of villagers. Okay, 17 minutes of idle TC time. Yeah, definitely lagging a bit. And he has managed to snag 2 relics as well. Knights running into Lewis's base. Lewis now getting ballistics. I imagine that's now for his town centers rather than his cav archers. He only has 5 cav archers left, though 4 in queue as he's trying to remass. He just, unfortunately, seemed to like lose his mass. He wasn't holding it in play. And just abandoning his early base, only leaving monks behind. Villagers decide, you know what, I need to go back into the town center. This isn't safe. Twigg's doing an excellent job moving his knights around, finding opportunities. Oh, I say that and he didn't actually make it to the villagers. Might be a little bit overexposed here. And Lewis is up to Imperial Age. And he has the castle on the hill. Adding ranges. Okay, so he's deciding ranges is his option. That will give him the best chance of pushing back in Imperial Age, having that tech advantage. And Twigg still massing knights, but maybe not as many. Switching back to villagers. He only has 31 on food, and he's making a lot of knights and villagers, so it will take him a second to get up to Imperial Age. And Lewis has kind of stabilized. I don't want to speak too quickly, as he's trying to build a castle as the knights come into his farming eco. He definitely needs to protect this. Without farming eco, he's going to have a hard time getting any food for upgrades. Knights kind of all chasing after the same villager. They're now under the castle fire that has ballistics, that has bodkin. Castle goes up. Knights, I don't know. They're not accomplishing all that much. They're making sure the vill count stays in Twigg's favor. And Twigg pulls them back, tries to stay outside of the fire. And really what he's doing here, effectively, is splitting Lewis's eco. So if Lewis wants to send units from one side to the other, let's say from his ranges to the safety of the castle, he is running past these, well, what was scorpions with ballistics. Lewis did a good job of sniping both those scorpions and then deleting the lightest before it could be converted. And Twigg, behind this, realizing, okay, my opponent's probably up to Imperial Age. I'll build another castle. Does Lewis see this castle? Doesn't quite see it. And I don't think the castle will fire on anything and notify it. So there might be an opportunity here for Twigg, even if he loses this position, to remount an attack from this direction. Another town center being built in the back here for Lewis. He's up to Imp. And his tech of choice, well, he can't afford anything. He's massing, he's massing. He gets Bracer. There's the ram that I was thinking about in the forward siege workshop, working away at this base that has 13 villagers completely idle. This is also a monastery that has 5 relics. And yeah, Twigg's doing a great job. I don't know if I completely agree with this strategy, but I'm going to leave it to him since he's the 2K4 and I'm the 1600. I think both of them are playing very, very well in their own way. Lewis now affording one trebuchet. One trebuchet that could potentially be sniped in the future. And sending villagers back over here while the knights are roaming. Absolute hoovering. We even have a centurion coming over here to help raid the economy even more. Buy him some time. I do have the Emu Treb mod on still. I made a video about Emu earlier today. And that'll come out to YouTube soon. Probably the day after I post this set to YouTube. But that's why the Treb projectiles look like that. How many idols does Lewis have? 56 idols. Half of his economy is completely idle. I hope he learned from his mentor, Hera, and will know that the first thing you have to do is check your idols after you get raided. But the raids don't stop. He doesn't have a chance to check his idols. These cav archers are just chilling from one place to the other. Okay, now he's down to 16 idols. Ecos may be coming back together. Very odd that Twigg's going into Centurion instead of going up to Imp. Am I missing something? Is Centurion, like, the play? Do they have more Pierce armor? Is that what it is? Yeah, 3+2. Okay, I get that. They are expensive, though. And he does have 3 castles at the moment. Centurion, yeah. I guess if you're going to trickle treb and your cav archers aren't available, Centurion can snipe trebs. Castle taking so many volleys just to delete one. Oh, but Twigg shift-clicked back before, yeah, taking care of the second one, realizes, and sends it there. Lewis still has score lead, but it's by such a small margin. Centurion's, you know, like, you know what? Why don't we take some villagers, too? That's a little snack for the road. Cav archers trying to harass, but it really feels like Lewis has so much going on in his base. He doesn't have the opportunity to focus on the micro of his cav archers as well. Yeah, he might be proving me wrong. Let's see how long those have survived. Or will survive. And look at that. 4 castles protecting Twigg's economy. 4 town centers as well. 5th and 6th now being posted. Absolutely solid. I imagine he'll get up to 150 vills, realize, you know what, I'll just go up. Rams has done so much damage here, uncontested. I hope Lewis has a select all idle military hotkey. I think he's going to need it this game. Centurion's pulling back once the cavalry archers arrive. I mean, Lewis is still improving his cavalry archer mass. He's at 41. Highest cavalry archer mass he's had all game. Hasn't been able to take out these castles, but he's still holding. He's still slowly improving his vill count. It's just he's losing buildings. He's losing map control. If this was Nomad, he'd be in a worse position. But with gold and wood and food all over the map, he still has opportunities. Twigg's so fast, though. Cav archers leave, sends it back to gold. He's just on gold everywhere. 46 on gold. I think he might be using the market soon. I mean, he has 57 on food as well. Sending villagers away before the cav archers arrive, anticipating their every move. Trebs here, attacking the castle again. Centurions arrive to help snipe. This time there's at least some units there in defense. But Treb still gets sniped. Centurions just have so much Pierce armor. And there we have a defensive castle now for Lewis. Finally able to afford it, getting some more upgrades for the lightest. I don't know if Lithuanians get Parthian tactics. I don't know if that would help them all that much either. They do not. Okay. So he pretty much has all the upgrades. I guess he doesn't have full armor for the cavalry archers at the moment. But really all that he can afford. And yeah, Twigg's doing such a good job of repairing the castle. He has that lumber camp right there next to the castle. Villagers are like, all right, guys, it's time to go repair again. Put down your axes, pick up your hammers. Back to work. Cavalry archers wrapping around again. And, oh, Lewis found one spot that Twigg won't raid him because he won't expect him there. I feel like Twigg's momentum's really dying down now. And Lewis is going with the strategy of just distracting him. Lewis even got heavy cav archer. I did not see that coming in. Twigg has a lot of idols himself now, actually. 43 idols. Part of that is due to the cavalry archer raids. Part of that is that he's just expanded his economy so far. It's hard for him to focus on all the things at once. These Lightists are trading very well against the Centurion. They don't really care about the Centurion's armor. And Twigg calls the GG. It just feels like he's still in such a good position. Does he not believe in Roman and Imperial Age? I'm not really understanding this. I guess he just felt like he lost his timing. I think Romans are still solid in Imperial Age. Maybe just playing in an open map against Cavalry Archer might have just given Lewis too much time to get onto a Cavalry Archer mass again. I don't know. Maybe he has more experience in this setting than I do, so I would just trust him to yeah, know when the game is done. But yeah, great first game to open it up. Will Twigg pick one of his home maps, or will he pick one of Lewis's home maps? Looks like Twigg's playing one of his home maps. He's deciding on migration. We have just about 2 minutes of spec delay before we are into the game. Civs will be Italians, Japanese, fairly classic on migration. Lewis and Italians, Twigg and Japanese. One minute until we're into game. I think in the first game they put 3 minutes of spec delay, so I'm hoping that's not a trend. I think 2 minutes is plenty. Especially on the speeds that these guys play at, and on the maps they're playing. Very open maps. And we're into game number 2 between Twigg and Lewis. Twigg playing as Japanese on the left side, Lewis playing as the Italians on the right side. Looks like all the sheep and deer are in normal positions here. And yeah, Twigg actually deciding to save the sheep, it looks like, and just take deer instead. Take the deer first, save the sheep for later, scouting with the sheep as well. It can be difficult on migration to get up to feudal age quickly, just because there's not a lot of food on land. You kind of need to take the time to develop your economy and build fishing ships up to really make the use of all the fish, all the food that's on water. Italians can go up a little bit faster, of course, since they don't need quite as much food. And we have seen some fast feudal plays in this version of TTL4 Silver, specifically with Italians. Actually, I think we saw... I can't remember who was playing. I think we saw Italians fast feudal to try to stop... that was Armenians. That was against our Armenian galley mass. I think that was... It was one of the last sets I casted. But they're all mixing in my head. That was Anti-Demon Sorakuma. That's what it was. So I could see Japanese trying to go for a galley mass too, but trying to go for a galley mass is so difficult when there's so much going on this map. You're focusing on water, you're focusing on the land, of course, and the landings. This is a very narrow generation of the middle, of course. So if one person gets stuck in a corner like this, They might have to wrap back around to the top side to get back into the game. Twigg able to get out to water a little bit earlier because he has the cheaper lumber camps. Blue is going to join pretty quickly. Lewis actually has no backwood. I don't think you ever get to a point in migration where you don't have some sort of navy support to help maintain your help control your island.
Salve.
Lewis sticking with 6 on wood, it looks like. I'm guessing this is a boom. Usually you just stick to a 5 if you're trying to go fast feudal, just to maintain fishing ships. Look at Lewis. Just pushing the deer and then moving backwards, as if he's ready to push the next one as soon as possible. Twigg already with... Twigg actually might be trying to go fast feudal. 2 on the short fish to collect as much food as possible. Only 5 on wood. The rest still collecting sheep. Getting that fishing ship out. And we have seen that with Japanese as well, I believe. Might be mistaken. But yeah, getting those fishing ship out very, very quickly.
Ore? Nanda? Ore? Iyo?
Pero presto.
Not much for me to talk about, so I just enjoy the villager lines instead.
Ain presto. Pero watashi?
Nanda?
Iyo. Hi.
Okay, Twigg's adding more to wood now. What I've seen mostly is people will just send a lot to wood and just build a second dock around this time if they're going fast castle. Maybe this is a slightly different approach. Oh, yeah, these feudal plays for both players? What? This is very interesting. This is very different than what we've seen a lot from Migration. Feudal play for both players. I haven't seen any of their previous games, so I'm curious to see if this has been typical for them, or if they're just trying to switch it up. Catch their opponent off guard. We have the Japanese sounding music in the background, so maybe that'll give Twigg an edge. Playing against the Japanese. Twigg getting a very similar time with 2 more fishing ships is, yeah, super solid. And adding another one as well. Okay, Lewis is adding as well. Is this like a hybrid approach that I haven't seen before? Where players go up to feudal and then add their 2 docks and keep booming? Keep fishing, but then they can make navy if they need to? Lewis is up, and massing galleys with whatever wood he can find. I think that third dock might have been a little premature. He has 12 on wood. I don't know the math, but I feel like, yeah, you can't afford double bid axe yet. You can't really produce out of the 3 docks. You're not really even using them to collect fish off of, not dropping off fish there. It does save 1 lonely sheep under his town center. Oh, they both do. It's very cute. And Twigg's massing fires first and the galleys behind it, looks like. So yeah, feudal play on a map that has a strong defender's advantage. Kind of curious what they're reading into this map that I don't know. Why they played it out like this, which has been so uncommon. Blue's grouping up the galleys together. Gets the 3rd galley out now. He's going to look for a 6 galley mass before he goes out. No, he's gonna go out with 3. 3's enough to, what, 3-shot a fishing ship? Fire galley here, patrolling for Twig. Lewis notices, pulls back. Both players pull back. Very quick on the draw here. And another fire on the top side for Twig. Also scouting out what's going on there. Market behind for Twig, so definitely wants to go up fairly soon. Doesn't want to spend too much time here. Relying on those Japanese fishing ships to bring in a lot of fish. There's the worry that if you somehow completely lose water here, well, I guess you're dead anyways. I was gonna say you lose your fishing ship and then you don't have the food availability. Twig, unfortunate with his dock placement, really forcing his fishing ships out of the way and waiting for those next galleys to come out to take a fight. He is doing a good job actually of getting around Lewis and forcing him to fight either into the fire or into his own galleys. But Lewis is quick enough to take out the fire before Twig has his galleys in place. Oh, I spoke too soon. Jinx to the caster. Twig is right on his galleys now. Lewis is going to try to do some fast movements. Keep that one galley alive. No, it goes down. Yeah, Twig's on him. There's not going to really be any snipes. They're just going to be trading, it looks like. Ooh, Twig tried to bring that weak one away. A little bit too slow. And Lewis did get fletching. I missed that. But did get fletching as well. To try to snipe a little bit faster, a little bit easier. And Twig's the first one to click up to Castle Age. Lewis behind, still just passing galleys. Might be a mistake. Okay, does have a fire that he's sniping on the other side. How long will his fish take, or fishing ships take to bring in enough food? I guess a solid galley mast will prevent his opponent from getting too far. I mean, I don't know. Galley versus galley. Twig should, yeah, there's fletching. And Lewis pulling back his galleys to the edge of the center island. Twig trying to do some counter damage, despite him, you know, being up soon. I guess this kind of could be considered map control, but he is down in terms of numbers, 5 versus 8. And I'm guessing he's realized that. It's not like there's a stack of galleys patrolled on top of each other. It's very clear what the numbers are at this point in the game. So Twig's just going to pull back. Might pull back this fishing ship as well. Try to delay a little bit. And Lewis isn't having it. He's like, I have the mass. I'm going forward. And he's actually not too far behind in Castle Age. But there will definitely be a timing window for Twig, who will be able to afford more galley and bodkin. And he's also transporting across. This is what's important too. Lewis also making the transport ship. Now, but really center control is what it's about. This water fight, not that important. And I kind of suspecting that both of them are going to switch onto fires once it gets to Castle Age, just because trying to micro your galleys becomes so complicated when you're doing your eco at home, your scouts in the middle, and your development of your economy in the middle, and then also trying to fight on water. So there's that timing window. Where'd all the food go? Is that just into War Galley? Or did he spend it on something else? I guess it was queuing villagers. He didn't have any villagers queued before. And, oh, nice snipe there. The numbers have gone back into Twig's favor. But there's a lot of HP missing from those galleys as well. It's fairly similar. It really is going to come down to micro. And it's a good job that Twig was able to get over to the middle area. I like the stable addition before the town center. Oh, he's deciding against it. What is the play here? Villagers. What do these guys see? This is a town center? Town center here? A monastery? What is he waiting on? Oh, he doesn't have... Oh no! He sold a stone. I didn't notice that. And now... he's going to see his opponent build a town center there. I mean, it might turn into a siege workshop. Obviously, these galleys are getting pulled cut off by the war galleys. They are very speedy, though. I think they have a slower or quicker attack delay. But Lewis isn't paying attention. That's what I said. Once you get involved in the middle, you lose your focus. Scout trying to snipe the villagers. There is a spear here in defense. And Lewis going for the forward dock. That could be devastating. But... the galleys for Japanese do have longer line of sight. So if a galley comes out of here, it might notice that dock. We'll see, though. It might not auto attack. It might be up to Twigg to realize what's going on. It comes out. It sees it. Okay, and he notices. But the galley's up. The galley's up. Villagers gonna have to run. Villagers are here to try to stop that. I don't know if they can. Meanwhile, we have a mangonel on the way, and Twigg bought stone for TC, but he's also placed a foundation for this outpost here. So you might have to buy some more. He could also, of course, mine it on his home island. It's not like they're completely starved of resources at home. Villager doing, yeah, a fine job on 2 HP to make it back home. And Lewis is going to make a siege workshop in reply. But this is what I was saying. You have to focus on the water as well. And trying to micro all those war galleys against the fire and war galley mass of your opponent. Oh, Lewis is, unfortunately, for all the Argentinians in chat, doing a much better job on water here. He has the fires coming around. He had the town center first. And, I mean, Twigg might be able to do something here. We'll see. But it seems like a lot of villagers just without a job in the middle. I don't know how Lewis got such a big mass going. Like, the rest collected is in favor for Lewis. But I'm really not sure where that came from. Fires are trying to grind down the fires from his opponent, but everywhere I look, Lewis has the advantage. And Twigg's going to make a town center up top, leaving a few villagers to repair, it looks like. Lewis is able to afford a mangonel behind. I'm wondering if Twigg just took a bad fight when he brought his galleys over earlier. But yeah, just so many fires. Might be also the Italians being more beneficial. Twigg only has one fishing ship left behind. And he calls it GG. I don't know where things went wrong. I'm gonna rewind and try to figure out, did he just stop making ships at some point? He's getting war galley. He's getting bodkin. He kept queuing war galleys. I think that might have been a mistake, instead of switching to fires. Comes over here. Katie's very similar. And Lewis just kind of took the Katie advantage here. And he stopped making fires. I think he just took his foot off the gas a little bit too much. It's not clear. Maybe he got a little bit too focused on trying to kill this villager, while Lewis was continually making so many fires. 3 fires in queue at the all at once. And Lewis, yeah, had sold 100 stone, so he just had 100 left. And then Twig started making fires, but it might have just been a little bit too late. It's hard to tell, really. At this point, it's 15 fires versus 2. Yeah, I can see getting stuck in this choke point like this, fighting on both sides, losing your fish. Lewis, it all came together for him. I don't know how much of it was skill and how much of it was luck. Sending the fires over to the top side as well. But well played to Lewis. He's up 2-0 in the series. I have this wrong. There we go. Yeah, happy to cast. Grinder. I told T90 I would try to cast as much of silver as possible, since he's, you know, in Germany and can't cast the tournament. Game 3 looks like it's going to be on Coast to Mountain. Oh, they're already in game, so I can just jump in. There's a 30-second wait. And it's 2 civs that we've seen quite a bit on Coast to Mountain as well. And I would say Lewis still has the better civ for this. We'll see if this is a 3-0 sweep. I mean, Twigg was playing very well in that first game. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the play on the ladder has been back and forth for both players. So I don't feel like Lewis has such an advantage here that Twigg doesn't have a chance. Alright, we are into game number 3 between Lewis and Twigg. Lewis playing as the Berbers. Twigg playing in the red as the Mullions. Sometimes we've seen Berbers go up to this wood line and then use the faster speed of the villagers to come back and collect the hunt, but Lewis deciding, you know what, that's extra. I don't need to do extra. I just need to do good. And also dropping a dock immediately, but realizing his palisade's in the wrong position. And actually scouting that Twigg's making a dock as well. Twigg's dock actually kind of forward in the middle of the coast line, instead of right on this first shorefish that he... Oh, he didn't actually see that first shorefish. Okay, that might explain it. Just using the stragglers around the town center first, and then sending a villager out to out to the elephant. So you'll probably get the first fishing ship out. Yeah, first fishing ship out with mullions. The town center and the dock is a little bit cheaper. I don't know if the town center is cheaper, actually. I believe after Nomad, the changed Nomad starts, town center is still full priced. Takes the elephant without issue, and yeah, Lewis is doing very much the same build order. It's been figured out, the meta. I don't know if Ghost Mountain will come back in Gold League for TTL4. These players aren't necessarily getting an advantage. And very nice scouting for Lewis at the top side, identifying where the gold and the wood lines are. Probably wants to know where his stone is as well. I assume he's going to want to go onto camel archers at some point. We've seen some fast castle plays by the Berbers, but I don't really think that's Lewis's style. I think he's happy to micro throughout Feudal Age. And everyone who's been trying to pressure that Berber fast castle has seen very mixed results. Just because once you get up into this wood line, while it's very cramped and there's not much room to boob, it's very easy to defend against, at least feudal army. Maybe once you get into siege and castles and trebuchets, it might be a little bit more difficult. I mentioned this before casting this map, but I really wish the camels said like a little scarf, like a little seasonal scarf, and that would show the color of the camel, who it belonged to, because otherwise they're, completely identical. I think a little scarf there around the neck would be quite nice. Camel does find the sheep. That's nice. And he's going to see where Lewis is going out to wood. Might consider pressuring. Doesn't want to get the camel trap though. Doesn't want to give away any HP. The camels are pretty weak. They're not the fastest unit. So if they really get into range of this town center, they'll go down pretty quick. But obviously, since he sees the lumber camp being built, he has a good idea that the town center is not up in that vicinity. So he'll be more careful while he's going into this prairie area. Sending that sheep back that he stole. Perfectly understandable. And going up to Fuel Age first at 19 pop. Really solid build order.
Ew.
Villagers look like they're all being sent to wood now, relying on the 2 fishing ships to bring in the food. I guess there's a few more villagers still on the hunt.
Inchi.
But a Feudal Age build order, I'm guessing it's scouts. I think you would need to have sent a scout or a villager forward if you wanted to go archers or some sort of man-at-arms play. Could also just be going water first. Fast feudal for some water pressure. He does have 2 going to gold now, so that would make sense. And yeah, barracks behind. Of course, Lewis has his scout here, trying to make sure he understands everything that's happening, and almost traps the scout in. I think there's a hole there. Realizes, okay, he's gonna trap the scout. Scout obviously can't, Lewis is trying to scout it, trap it even more. Okay, he's got it. Unless the villagers get in and he gets away now. Yeah, scout can't, or the camel can't fight back. Well done there, Lewis. I mentioned it was very easy to trap. And, or sorry, that was Twigg. I mixed them up. I was expecting Lewis to trap, maybe. But yeah, Twigg did a good job. Camel goes down. Very easy to wall and defend there. Not really what I was referencing to earlier, but it's still the same. Spearman and Fire Galley being produced by Twigg. And do these guys just not see the deep fish? Oops, sorry. Oh, they don't see the deep fish. Okay. He didn't scout around for the next deep fish, so of course fishing ships default to short fish. Doesn't see these beautiful opportunities down here. Additional walling here for Twigg. Meanwhile, Lewis, late barracks. Won't be ready in time. Actually, late to wood in general. And he's trying to wall up. Okay, he's not going to have a fire in return. Was able to avoid getting a loom until now. Okay, both players avoided loom. Definitely easier with Berbers, since you can more or less outrun the elephants that he was bringing in earlier. And Spearman, I guess, well, it can kill all the zebra that's here. That's one bonus to having a Spearman out here, other than just scouting. Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to do. I like this a lot more than trying to invest into man-at-arms, or even a militia earlier. And this zebra just rot into the soil. Fire, meanwhile, chasing after the fishing ships. Looks like it was just one fire. And a galley instead for Lewis, so looking just for the snipe rather than win on water. I don't think he's going to take the time to micro one galley against a fishing ship. Or sorry, and gets a fire ship. And adding a range, the camel sees it. I mean, does the range make sense? I guess it does if you don't know what your opponent's adding. Like, cause yeah, Lewis didn't see any range. He just knows his opponent was on gold, and maybe that's the natural follow-up. But range from that far away, tricky, very tricky. I guess going scouts against walls isn't that great either. Spear's doing so much work. How many does the spear get kills for the zebra? No, it doesn't. Does not count. Trying to buff his KD, but that does not how it works. Fire looks like it was sent back to deal with the galley, but he's having a hard time finding it. And Lewis is doing a good job of actually sniping the fish. Spearman continues to run in, and Lewis now on gold. Could make additional ships if he chose, but I'm guessing that might just be for archers in the future. Archer actually gets sent back, maybe because, yeah, Twigg scouted the range. Nothing actually being produced in the range. So maybe just frightening for a reason. And oh, okay. I thought that was a second range for a second. Blacksmith instead for Twigg. So thinking about fletching now that he sees that there are exposed villagers. And yeah, Lewis having no scout here. Oh, is it going to make an outpost? Okay, so he have time to react, I think, for this camel. But as I mentioned earlier, camel very weak. Cannot sit there. Was it just a bait? I mean, camel also sees that there's no one into the town center. Villagers actually managed to keep one zebra alive. And archer actually going across. So yeah, outpost, spear, and an archer there to get vision in the middle. Actually does a pretty good job. Just not good enough. How fast is Lewis' reaction time? You got an attack notification on the water. Might not be expecting these archers. Yeah, outposts don't do the trick. Fletching just about to come in as well. Archers are out of position. Camel gets taken out, so they're limited both on scouting. Lewis still hasn't reacted to this, though. This is a big fail. Big fail. Archers also take out the zebra before the villagers can save them for later, just in case Lewis was able to come back in this. And Twigg taking a very early villager lead. And he also kind of secured water. I might be speaking too soon. Where's the galley gone? Galley has gone to the bottom. This villager's still in full HP as well. We'll have to watch out for her. She might come forward once Twigg gets up to Castle Age. Add some siege or something like this. I still prefer Castle Age. And this is very tricky, deciding to go in like this, knowing your opponent does have a range. But obviously can do a lot of damage as well. Twigg's not done. Up against the skirms. And actually forcing a tower out of his opponent. I'd say that's worth it. Obviously there is stone back there available. I don't think... Yeah, Twigg's just going to have to keep running. Maybe just micro against the skirms. I think maybe you run past now and try to go for the gold. But he doesn't know that's there. He can assume, of course. Otherwise his opponent would have to be down here on stone and gold. I mean, there's only so much you can assume when you only play this map, like, I don't know, a few times in the tournament. A few times offline practice. Loom now coming in for Twigg. Did a good job of waiting for that until he actually needed it. And he's pretty much walled off most of his base. Has the market there, and he'll be able to click up very shortly. Meanwhile, Lewis bought 200 food for 300 gold. Not the best prices, but he did buy before Twigg, I believe, so. Slight lead, and yeah, Twigg is up. Using the elevation to the maximum potential, but against 4 skirmishers, yeah, I don't think it's worth microing too much. And there, Lewis goes onto stone as well. Maybe for TCs, maybe for castles. We will have to wait and see. Behind us, I'm wondering what Malians do there. I mean, they're going to be limited in Imperial Age if Twigg is thinking towards Imperial Age. And Malians do like to play, yeah, stable range. But on a map that can be very defensive, it can be very difficult. Also, with the distances between players, your ranged units take a really long time to get across to your opponent. Fire looks like it's just on patrol mode, so isn't running into the fishing ships. And yeah, Twigg doesn't really have the resources to invest into more fishing ships, though there's plenty of fish left in there. Scout comes forward to deal with the skirms. Gets a little bit close to the TC, though. Thinking about running in, maybe? Deciding not to. And Lewis realizes, you know what, that is actually a risk. Let's just close that off. Prevent that from happening whatsoever. Skirms are set up here. We have a forward house. I'm guessing that's going to be followed up by a forward siege workshop. And it was not the villager I was thinking it would be. And fire finally finds the dock. Lewis has clicked up to Castle Age, but yeah, definitely behind. Does have the Vill lead right now, but that's just because the difference in going up to Castle Age. Twigg, I guess, has 1 villager of idle TC time. House walls behind all the palisades. Villagers here. The wood is available to build a siege workshop. We have crossbowmen and oh, very forward siege workshop. Not visible. Okay, repositions it a little bit. And the scout does get taken out by a spear. Lewis might be willing to, or wanting to go forward with the spear to try to figure out what the follow-up is. And I've heard people before say forward siege is an eco investment, because you're getting your opponent to just stay at home and try to deal with the siege rather than investing more. And force into a second tower. Not trusting the market to be enough to hold this. Maybe he's just also like guessing that there's siege coming up, or maybe he feels like the tower is less of an investment in his economy, or less of a hit into his economy than just building a second tower. Second TC up for Twigg. It's looking pretty good for him. Has enough food to keep producing out of both town centers. Has invested into a knight as well, which is just going to run into the economy. Hard to wall off there. Archers are in. Siege is coming in. This is playing out like a Malians type of game. And Lewis is still quite a bit away from a castle. But double tower is going to make it difficult for the knight to really sit anywhere. So yeah, those units are just forced back until Twigg can make a hole here for the palisade. Outpost as well. Where has his stone gone into? Oh, he sold 100, and now he's just collecting some back. Okay, I get it. I was like, what would take up 85 stone plus an outpost? House here seems very odd. Is he walling him in? We've seen this before. It's what I like to call the Tijuana wall, where you just wall your player from the mountains to the coast, just like what we see in Tijuana along the US border. Villager actually gets sniped. Having no forward villager can make it very difficult to repair the mangonel, and it's just full tower defense from Lewis. He thinks it's playing a tower defense game rather than an Age of Empires 2 game. We'll see if he gets the university. I was gonna say Malians can get watchtower or guard tower even faster, but wrong civ, wrong player. And yeah, no villager defending here means can't really try to attack the towers anymore. Could continue attacking the houses though. There's some value from there. And we do have another villager coming forward. So deciding, you know what? I'm okay with more pressure. Not really racking up any ideal TC time. He has just the right eco for this. But he does see the monk, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to stick around for that. No thanks. So the question will be, will Lewis be able to boom behind this? Behind the pressure. Defend successfully and boom. Seems like it's going to be pretty hard. He has no siege workshop in defense. He's purely relying on these towers. What tree is this? Because whatever it is, the dragon tree is doing some work. Villager is ready to defend. There is Bodkin on these towers as well. Because, of course, it was invested in for the skirms. Skirms are going to try to snipe that villager, maybe? Being pulled back and forth. Can try to snipe the villagers repairing as well, if there's an attack round. But yeah, the tower goes down so quickly. Villager sent to repair. Hits are coming in. 3rd TC behind this. Twigg looks like he's in a very comfortable position. But there is a siege workshop pumping out a mangonel coming soon to an eco near you. And Lewis, yeah, not any closer to that castle he wants. But does have enough stone, I guess, to move out into this other area that's not being attacked. This push from the Malian player is quite slow at the moment. There's that opportunity for some wins with the mangonel war. I was wondering if that mangonel was going to try to snipe the villager. No repairs also gives a lot of time here for Lewis. Takes a big shot against the skirms. And knights are thinking about jumping in. We have 1 monk in defense, 2 monks. I don't know where the second monk is. Oh, he's collecting relics. Okay. But yeah, the issue for Twigg here is if he does let a knight get converted, that might be a mangonel that gets killed as well. If the crossbows aren't available to kill the knight before he gets in. But his economy back home is looking very nice. Actually getting housed because he's producing so many villagers. Not up by, like, the largest margin, but he's buying himself a lot of time, forcing the Berber player to be stuck on the side. And as we saw in the previous game, where he tried to break up Lewis's economy by getting those castles forward, he might be able to do the same if he starts attacking in this position, and Lewis's economy will be split in 2. Obviously, that didn't end up working super well for Twigg in the end. He didn't, like, get the win out of it, but there's the potential. And he's definitely taking a lot of houses out. Lewis is successfully making more houses behind. I guess he house-walled so much of his palisade wall earlier that he bought himself time. And Twigg deciding, you know what, I don't really need the knights here. Let me keep scouting to see what Lewis is doing elsewhere. Lewis, buying stone. Okay, he's dropping the castle. He's had enough of this mangonel war. Or he might still get a kill out of it. Ooh, that was a tricky one. Fighting uphill. Twigg dodging very, very well. One for Lewis. One for Twigg. Archers are also in a tricky area. It's that same baobab tree. Or dragon tree, sorry. The villager should have just taken that out. Same with this tree that was down here that was blocking the villager from collecting shorefish. Just take it out, man. Those are just stragglers. Knights have found a house to hit. And villagers are working away, successfully collecting gold. If you hear any noise behind me, it's the cat's dinner time, so they're happily being fed. Just in case you guys are wondering, I'm not starving any cats. First camel archers are on the way, but Twigg's eco's been good enough that he is up to Imperial Age. Did kind of have to put a castle fairly far back, but we'll have mangonels there to defend any trebs. There's not really any risk of any trebs outside of the castle range being sniped. I mean, I guess I say that, but we have equal mangonels for both players. Outposts are there, so Twigg's not going to just walk into it. And these mangonels are being seen by both players, but there is the high ground here, just a little bit of it, so you can't one-shot any of these mangonels unless he attacks with both mangonels on one. That would put him in a very vulnerable position. You'd have to clump the mangonels together. Knights. Oh, he thinks this is the only gold, so he's just patrolling it. He doesn't realize there's gold right here, and Lewis is going for the conversions. He knew that there were knights around here. Trying to take out the outpost. Both players focused. And Twigg's actually thinking of second castle, I think. He might actually want to delete the town center to find... Or, sorry, not the town center. The siege workshop to find the ideal position for the castle. Oh, no, he was just wrapping around? What is this pathing? And there's one knight converted. 2 knights converted. Wait, I heard the sound. Is this knight attacking? It is. Okay. Oh, it was a archer converted. And so 1 knight for 1 monk. Let's see if Twig realizes, or sorry, Lewis realizes. All right, I think he does. Also, yeah, coming back to fight within the range of the monk to heal, not ideal. Okay, he realizes. There's the second town center, though. Lewis kind of looks cooked. I don't know what to say. He's up to M2. And if he gets the unique tech in his castle, he'll be able to produce trebs a little bit faster. The only good thing I have to say for him. I guess he's not down by that many villagers. So if he gets very lucky with the fight, he might have a chance. But Mangonel here. Ooh, Camel Archers do quite well against the Mangonel. I didn't realize how much damage they could pack. But yeah, against this many villagers repairing and actually losing a Mangonel that's very valuable to sniping traps. Losing both Mangonels. Do we have ballistics in? I guess Mangonels are slow, but man, how did that hit? And the scrims have been kept alive here. So they could take quite a good engagement here. That's a 6 HP knight. Isn't going to pose much of a threat. So yeah, Lewis actually with the military lead. But Armalian's player getting the trebs out, getting chemistry. Not on gold anymore. Is that yeah, that's a recent issue. Ran out of gold inside the base, but obviously has secured quite a bit in the top end of the map. And adding camels behind to make sure the trebs stay alive. Completely fine to trickle treb when your opponent has lost both their mangonels. Looking for light cav in the future. Maybe thinking his opponent might go into monks as a defense. I don't know about light cav. Seems a little early. I guess he's already on 100 villagers. He could raid. Camel archers have an opening here. I think you just run in here if you're Lewis, if you realize this is open. Skirms get very close and comfortable. And Lewis doesn't need to run in. Twig realizes. Lewis trying to juke, but doing so somewhat unsuccessfully. I guess didn't realize that was open behind the university and that he could just run around the university. Got lots of villagers running away, and what Malians really need in late game is lots of farms. All of their units are costing food. Does Lewis have the attention span to micro this? It kind of seemed like he does. There's just one armor on these camels, and as I mentioned earlier, I have the Emu Treb mod on right now because I have a video about Emu coming to YouTube the day after this comes to YouTube. Lewis is out of stone. Does have a little bit of stone left, 66 worth, but he's choosing to buy it from the market, selling food and wood to buy it. Camel archers have been, decided they have to run away. Don't have the opportunity. Does have the attention span though to quick wall this villager and who's building a house. I think she'll get the house up, and that's about it. Camel archers deciding to come forward to snipe the BBC, and I think they get it pretty easily. Yeah, BBC doesn't have nearly as much PS armor as these trebs, who have, what is it, 150 plus 1? They're doing pretty good with PS armor. BBC still being sent out, and Lewis hasn't made any trebs. He just, I guess, counting on BBCs instead. He just wants to snipe trebs instead of make trebs. All right, there we go. He's making one as well. Monks coming forward, going to try to convert camels. I guess camel plus light cab is a pretty classic composition. And Camel's thinking about going back home. What does Twig have on vision in the middle of the map? Not great. This other castle here will defend some of the, more of this farming economy. And that's exactly where the camel archers want to go. Twig's one camel sees that. And he knows that he tells his opponent he sees that because he micros it away. Camel archers might get a decent number of kills here. Might even out the mass. But how long will this castle hold for? Actually, you know what? Lewis was able to get it back up. And the BBC is here to snipe. We have a little bit of a cannonball situation here. And the camel archers are able to deny the castle. Twig down 20 villagers from that, I think. Now down 10 villagers. But of course, Lewis did lose all 3 of his monks in the process. Bombard cannon Marco continuing. I think the good thing here for Twig is as long as he's forcing these bombard cannons to duck and dodge, his trebs are staying alive. So he has no more builds forward to repair. They've all been taken out by trebs. And bop. Bomber cannon goes down. Heavy camel decides it's time to go in. Can the quick wall be made in time? It protects the Treb. It does not protect the bombard cannons. Some camels being sent back, some being sent forward. The castle is still not complete, and villagers are just running any direction, wherever they can go. Not staying in that town center. Camels come in behind, try to raid, but obviously Camel not the best raiding unit. And Lewis has taken the score lead after all that. Twigg realizing he cannot attack this castle from the low ground any longer. He's going to the high ground. Camel archers going deep into the base. We do have many camel archers, or camels being produced, but Twigg is simply losing villagers. He's not able to mass anymore. And these Trebs just don't have any protection up front. They don't have these villagers here to repair. Only sending one villager to repair might not be enough. And BBC getting pulled into the castle fire. It looks like it's just all falling apart for Twigg. He kind of put himself in put himself in the same position that Lewis was in game 1, but it feels like Lewis had the time. Oh, I might have misspoke. Lots of camel archers going down now. Lewis has to constantly focus on this mass. And he can't bring the BBC back into castle range fast enough. Look at that. Twigg trying to get the castle fire to miss so that other camels can come in. Villager tries to arrive to repair. She's in too late. Is one villager actually going to out-repair this Treb? It's going to be hard. I guess if the Treb misses consistently. And then, of course, another Treb. 2 Trebs down here trying to take out this castle. I still believe in Twigg. Still believe in his position. But his opponent has plenty of camels of his own now, and those are cheaper Berber camels. These Trebs have to run. And there's the GG. It looks so good. It looks so good. If only maybe Twigg had gone back onto water a little bit to boom behind. That might be asking too much. But he just couldn't break the Berber camel. Castle. I think if his castle was up here instead of the siege workshop, he would have had the high ground. His Trebs would be out here. He'd be pushing from a better position, and he might have had it. Good series despite the 3-0. Great job. So Lewis moves on to... why can't I do the score? Capture age bug? I don't know. Lewis moves on to Gold League. Twigg will get... What's his award for this? Let me look at TTL's awards. 12th through 88th place is $100. Or sorry, 12th through 22nd place is $100. So Twigg's not coming out of this empty-handed. He just doesn't have the opportunity to go up.